I see a lot of Nignogs listening to Neely Fuller now, more and more, and it's obviously because of Tariq Nasheed. Because before him, nobody was really paying attention to what he said. He took Marcus Garvey's concept of creating a code of conduct for blacks to survive and thrive and expanded it to the next level. And Neely Fuller explained why he wrote the code book. He also explained why nothing happened to him because nobody's really paying attention to him. So as long as nobody's paying attention, then people will listen. Excuse me, people will leave him alone. But if it got widespread popularity, especially back then, they would have got rid of him. He knew it, and everybody else knows it. But the thing is, a lot of nignogs, they listen to this shit not to gain skills to fight white supremacy, not to gain skills to better their lives. No, they listen to it because it's Coon Fuel. It's Coon Fuel. And what does that mean? It means they use it to find better ways to kiss white people's ass and to better their position under the system of white supremacy. Because, like I've always said for the past 15 years that I've been on this stupid ass site, niggity jiggities, especially Afrocentrics of all types, and then remember Afrocentrism is just a catch all term for all these silly ass nignogs. Whether it's an Israelite or a fake Native American or these dashiki weirdos, Asra said, Nawabians, speaking of Nawabians, just like Dwight York, Brother Polat's a pedophile. Anyway, and all these other stupid ass groups, their whole goal is to demonstrate value to white people to be accepted by them. The reason why white supremacists study history is to figure out where they went wrong. The reason why nignogs study history is to feel better about themselves and to find ways to show that they were valuable to white people so that they can gain white sexual capital from white people, aka they can date and be around them. They want to sit at the same bathroom as white people. That's all these niggas wanted. That's all they ever wanted. Blacks who were fighting for real things got discriminated against by blacks. That's why you got, and then you got these blacks that go around causing confusion. Guys like Uriah Brandon and Dane Calloway. These niggas are coons. They are cacks, cack lovers. They're scum. Because you see these dirty little race traders causing confusion. And the reason why these monkeys are causing confusion is to destroy black legacies whose histories show how to deal with the whites. And they don't like that. You see, they'll talk about the bully in these vague, idiotic terms that make absolutely no sense, and then they'll tie it to stupid shit like the Masons. They're basically the black version of Alex Jones causing confusion. Instead of addressing the bad news, Alex Jones talks about vague shit like the Trilateral Commission without talking about the Trilateral Commission. He won't actually name anybody's names when he talks about what bad news does. He'll just say things in super vague terms. Because if you don't know who, and you don't know what, and you don't know why, and you don't know where they're from, you won't know who to target. So that's the point. So when you talk about somebody like Marcus Garvey, you'll start talking about bullshit like Pan-Africanism and back to Africa. All that shit's nonsense. Marcus Garvey's goal, as I've said a million times on here, was to fight colonialism and create a global economic base. And when he started to successfully do that, the government, aka the white supremacist oligarchs, sent in black agents, usually black cops, to sabotage him. The FBI admitted to this. And I'll put links in the description. And if I don't, remind me and then I'll put them in there. Because you know I'll be forgetting. But yeah, the FBI sabotaged him. The Black Star Line went down to Jamaica and got a bunch of fruit and other goods and brought them to the United States. And what the government did was they made it sit in the harbor until all that shit rotted. Because it was going to go to black businesses, black stores. So they made sure to sit in the harbor until most of it rotted. Then they brought up all these fake ass charges and said it was fraud and all this. When later it was proved that none of that shit was true. But they arrested him and sent him to prison for mail fraud. And killed his movement, and then we all know what happened afterwards. The honeypot groups like the Nation of Islam, which was founded by a white man, Wallace Dodd Ford, from New Zealand, and other assorted groups. You had other former African Legion members, and we all know what the African Legion used to do. They used to go around and put the screws to the Klan. After the Klan and other white mobs would innocently kill blacks, they'd go and get maximum emergency compensatory action against our enemies. That's what they would do. They would go down there and handle their props, the way they're supposed to be handled. Not with nonviolence, not with votes and marches and dances and singing and art. No, they would handle it the way you're supposed to handle it. And that's what they did, and that's why the FBI went after them. And slowly broke that group down over time, and then erased them from the annals of history. That's why when I talk about that group, the videos disappear for hate speech, because hate speech is anything that white people don't like. That's all it is. All right. I got time today, Jack and Danny's, because I'm tired of you filthy fucking cack lovers. If I had I'd handle you my goddamn self. Anyway, let's talk about it. So, what these assholes do is they don't even bring up what he did. They start talking about dumb shit. This Pan-African bullshit. Pan-Africanism is nonsense, and it ain't got shit to do with Marcus Garvey. It has absolutely nothing to do with him. Now, in terms of what they're talking about with this symbolic, hey brother, I'm here for you bullshit, the actual goal, he was working with actual black leaders, black movers and shakers, black intellectuals around the world. Guys like Prince Tuvalu, who had pull in all of Francophone West Africa, even though he was a Dahomey prince. And they tried to destroy his legacy by questioning his lineage, and they couldn't do it because he was able to cause riots all over Francophone West Africa. He was able to stop production all over Francophone West Africa, exposing those assholes and what they were doing. And so what happened there was they made him go back to Dahomey. And after that, after they made him go back, they said he couldn't speak anymore. That would limit his reach. Limiting his reach kept him from spreading Garveyism even more. Now, there's also these Uriah Brandons and these Dan Calloway retards. They also muddy the waters when it comes to things like what happened after Garvey's movement started breaking down. You see, they realized what these guys were doing. They realized these black Tulsas had to go, because they never really talk about how Garvey's movement impacted these Tulsa-type cities. Blacks just had one successful group here, but they weren't connected to a group in another town. He was connecting all these cities, connecting these people around the world. That's why the nukes and the Boule said that they had to keep the black intelligentsia away from Garvey, because if they did so, there'd be no safe haven for the whites in the black community. Why would you want to protect a safe haven for whites in the black community at the expense of the black community? Simple. Because Boule niggas, including that piece of shit Martin Luther King, are sentinels for the white race. Remember, Martin Luther King was a church banker. That's why he was friends with Stanley Levinson, who was also a banker. Which is why I always say that whole crap about socialism is complete nonsense. He wasn't a socialist and had nothing to do with socialism. He was talking about fast-tracking money to blacks, which they were already doing. That was a movement that was already started by grassroots activists getting back what they already were paying taxes into. That's not socialism. It's getting the same rights and benefits from your tax dollars as everyone else. And that movement was nullified with the benign neglect policy. Now, what Obama did, this is another side note, what Obama did was not benign neglect. What Obama did was send the cops after your asses. Obama's policies put in motions to get the cops to harm you, to get the cops to shoot you and get away with it. He ramped up the cops program. He ramped up burn rights. Those didn't go after everyday criminals. They went after blacks. That's why Trayvon Martin was able to get killed like that with impunity. That's why all those other cop killings started happening heavily after his presidency. It wasn't because he got in office and they wanted revenge. No, it was because he purposely put the fucking laws in place to get those cops to harm your asses. He put those laws into place. I've got another video that talks about that. He put those goddamn laws into place. Obama directly harmed black people. His wife directly harmed black people. In Chicago, there used to be money set aside at hospitals, large hospitals, for low-income black residents on the south side. She would personally defer these people who needed urgent care and who needed quality health care to shitty clinics around the south side that were inadequately funded so that she could get a bonus. That is what that ugly ass woman did. These are facts. But let's get back to the topic at hand. So basically Obama and his wife are coons. They're scumbags and they're race traitors and they hate your guts. Obama was also a field baby. His mother was an Asian. His grandfather was an Asian. His grandfather was also an ardent anti-black racist. That's why he was the president. Dick Cheney isn't his distant imaginary cousin. He's a close cousin connected to his grandfather who was a goddamn CIA agent. Just like Julia Child was a CIA agent. I go over this over and over. His father was either MI5 or MI6. Either way, connected to Five Eyes. They're all agents. Field baby means the baby was conceived between two agents on a mission. That's all that is. That's all it was. That's all it ever will be. Now, back to what I was talking about. So Garvey was connected to bringing about all these connections. He wanted a black army. Remember I talked about the physical, the economic, and the political. So by fusing these things together, getting these black towns connected, getting black America connected with the Caribbean and getting Caribbean connected with blacks in Europe, they could fight against colonialism in Africa and utilize the resources for themselves around the world to fight against white supremacy and to just build themselves up economically. So what these pieces of shit boule retards like Uriah Brandon do is they cause this confusion talking about Pan-Africanism to avoid what actually happened, to avoid talking about what actually happened. And like I said, as soon as his movement got broken up, outside of the stupid honeypot groups like the Nation of Islam, aka the Nation of Informants, they started to destroy the black economic centers all over America. And this was back in the 30s, back in the 20s. Because they knew that if the black economic base, which was actually insulated for the most part from the Great Depression because they had their own independent system, they started to break them up around that time. Remember, when the money gets funny, whites start getting violent. And when this country goes completely broke, that's what GTG is about. That's when it's going to get hot. And they know it, and you should know it. All the pretenses are going to go out of the window. That's why they always try to stop what I'm talking about. All the pretenses, all this we're brothers and sisters, America bullshit will go right the fuck out of the window. During the Great Recession, it got hot and popping. And you saw all that white on black crime. So let's cut the crap. Now, they destroyed the black economic bases that were existing already and put you at the mercy of monsters. And this protected the boule because nukes are basically the white man's nignog. And their whole purpose is to eat their ass for some food. That's their whole goal. They'll suck their ass for some food. They're eating off of them, they're leeching off of them, and when anybody creates something independent of that, they have to snuff it out and they have to make it stop from happening. And so they use nearly foolish words as an excuse to create more ways to suck their ass. They use them as excuses to be nukes. Oh, well, we can't fight this, man. We just gonna have to keep on being nukes. That's what they do. They'll listen to Tariq Nasheed for the same reason. They're not black first. They don't give a fuck about any of that shit. They're nuke first. They're coon first. That's what these niggas are. They'll always be that. People are ass kissers. They create these stupid movements to avoid any real impact. Nearly Fuller's work, Tariq Nasheed's work, Malcolm X's work. It's all being used as Coon Fuel. They'll show a Malcolm X video and start talking about the Democratic Party, the Democratic Party and how it works against blacks. Even in a video where he's talking about the Republicans and how they are, they'll ignore all of that and push the focus on the Democrat. When in reality, the Democrats and the Republicans are the same goddamn thing. It's the same system. They go to the same galas, as you saw with AOC's ass, sitting up there with the rest of them. They go to the same galas, they go to the same resorts, they eat the same foods, at the same restaurants, they send their kids to the same schools. The kids often marry each other. It's a joke. They're all clicked in. It's fake. They're all just the mouthpieces of the white supremacist oligarchs that actually own the country. So, when you hear these morons like Uriah Brandon talking all this Mason Boule shit, know that it's really confusion and it's more Coon Fuel using actual black words to support these people kissing ass to survive and create a better position, which it doesn't create a better position under the system of white supremacy. Because they don't really want smoke, they just want to be white. That's their goal. Their goal is to pass. That's their goal. Like I said, the real dream is just like that Boondocks episode where Uncle Ruckus looked over that fountain and he was a white man. That's what these Afrocentrics want. That's what they've always wanted. They'll act like that's not what they want. That's what they want. And they'll do anything to get it. And these long-winded, harebrained plans are always what they want. All this plebiscite shit, that's their goddamn end goal. They're just dick suckers, man. That's all they are. They're dick suckers looking for access to white sexual capital. That's all they're ever gonna be. And every plan and everything they talk about is for that purpose and that purpose alone. You saw it with the George Floyd protests. You've seen it with these fake Native American claims, and that's what it's always going to be. That's what it's always going to be. If you're confused, I've just broken it down for you. That's what these retards are really about. That's all I got to say. Bitch.